All right, and we're live. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I'm Robert Michaels, and you're at the best. This is the most incredible flying live stream that you're going to find on YouTube on Thursday nights. There is no better, and I'm glad that you're here. The chat is already going off the tracks. I'm excited tonight. We're going to do a big giveaway. We're actually doing a couple big giveaways. People are logging in. Look at that. My word, it jumped from 15 to 35. It's already off the tracks. Welcome, everyone. So glad that you're here. I do want to just do the quick formal thing. We're joined tonight by Steve Prairie. Steve Prairie is a local pilot here in Southern California. He's actually one of the guys that I fly with often. We've been flying together for over a year now. And it seems like he's always up and gone by the time I get there, and surfing cloud base. And I'm always scratching around at the bailout, trying to figure out how to fly. But we finally have been flying together, and when all the guys went to VIA, it was just me and him. And so we got to know each other, and I told him about the show, and I knew he was an excellent pilot. I didn't realize how much history he had in the sport. And so I said, man, I'd really like to have you come on the show. And he agreed. And so he's here with us, and we are very grateful that you came tonight. I know that you have a lot of stuff going on. We're going to keep the show short. And in our world, in the free flight world, you're a legend. And so I'm so glad that you're here. And you're also joined by Sean, who's one of the moderators. If you don't know Sean, now you do. And also Calvin, POC, PPG, is moderating. And he's going to be in and out because he's working on a computer. So welcome to the show. So glad that you're here. People are here. We go. A lot of people are logging in like crazy. We'll let them kind of get caught up. I do want to just give you a quick little shout out. This show is sponsored by Paraorange Products, and paraorangeproducts.com is where you can find all kinds of good stuff for your para gear. They've got windsocks and stuffed sacks, and typically on our show on the third Thursday of every month, they do a giveaway, and they've given away some really nice stuff on the show, hundreds of dollars worth of stuff on the show. So show them some love and keep them coming back. Larry couldn't be with us tonight. He's out. But if you want to go and check out their website, it's paraorangeproducts.com. And if you're interested in reaching out to Larry about some ideas, or you have something that you wanted to ask him, you can reach him at larry@paraorangeproducts.com. That's his email address. And so also, we're going to be doing a giveaway. And that giveaway is the big giveaway. This is the one that everybody's been talking about. This is a smoke machine that you hook onto your paramotor. It's like $150, $165 or something like that. And Ryan Roberts gave us 52. He said, I want to give away one of those smoke machines every episode for a year, 52 weeks. And so he donated, it's close to $10,000 worth of these smoke machines. And so he hooked it up, and they're starting to be given away on this show. So we've already given away 2. I'm going to give another one away tonight. How do you get into that contest? You go to paraglidingtalk.com/contest and fill out the contest. Make sure that you read the contest rules. Fortunately, we have to structure it because it's got such a value to it. I got kids in the background trolling me. Get out. I could see him in the mirror in the background. And so with that, I'd also say make sure that you get signed up with what's going on at paraglidingtalk.com for all the stuff that's going on. There's all kinds of stuff you can learn, all the past episodes, and just a fun little thing. You can learn some stuff from here. Okay, so Steve, so glad that you're here. Thank you for coming. And I've got some questions that I wrote down, and we're going to, about the halfway mark, open up for some questions from the chat. But I want to start off with the formality. How did you find out about paragliding?
Actually, Robert, very interesting question. Actually, a really cool answer as well. My brother did his postdoctorate in Lucerne, Switzerland in the late 80s. So he came back after getting his PhD and doing his postdoc in Lucerne. And he's like, hey, Steve, man, you've got to try this really cool sport. I picked it up in Lucerne. It's called paragliding. And I'm like, really cool. What's it about? And I was living in California and he was living in New Mexico at the time. And I'm like, cool. What's it about? And he's like, yeah, you get this gear and you fly off a mountain and it's really fun. And yeah, if you catch a thermal, you spiral up and then you could fly around for a while. And so I'm like, all right. So I kept asking him. I go, well, let me borrow your gear so I can get into it. I was like, no, the gear is too expensive. I can't let you borrow it. Finally, like in 1992. I talked him into letting me borrow it. So he let me borrow 1989 Eldeka wing. It's called a Gen Air 314. It actually had 7 closed cells on each side, 3 gigantic cells in the middle. And when the glider opened up, the cells on the sides, the 14 cells were open at first, but as soon as the glider filled up with air, there was a slit, so they closed. So I got him to let me borrow the gear, and I took lessons, and I started flying, and the rest is history. And then it just took off. I couldn't do anything else. All I did was fly.
Where was this? Was this here?
This was here. So I learned my paragliding lessons instructor was a guy that ran the paragliding center named John Ryan. He was a really good local pilot, had a teepee, actual teepee up in Blossom Valley. Then he built a tire house up on the hill in Blossom Valley. And then the city made him tear it down because it wasn't up to code. So anyway, he moved out. But I learned from him. Super great guy, super nice. Hang glider pilot turned paraglider pilot. And I did my first high altitude off Little Black. Did my training at Little Black. First high altitude off Little Black in 1993. Pretty much flew there twice, then moved to Blossom, and I've been flying Blossom and the big mountains around here ever since.
My word, you've been flying there since 93?
Yeah, since 1993.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blossom is by far my favorite place to fly. That's actually one of my questions for you. Is Blossom your favorite place to fly even now?
I'd probably say yes, and the reason is I live 20 minutes away. It's probably flyable there. I would probably say it's probably soarable 320 days out of the year, which is unseen at probably any other site, maybe even in the world. And the flying is always dynamic and fun. And we're always picking up some new lines and some new convergences that seem to be setting up there. So it's always dynamic. It's always fun. It's always changing. And it's usually flyable, so that makes it fun.
So you've had some big cross countries. What's your biggest cross country from Blossom so far?
From Blossom to Ocotillo Wells, just out in the desert, just out up Interstate 8.
How many miles did it end up being?
I can't remember. It's not that far. Like more maybe 46 or something out of Blossom.
That's a long, 46 miles, a long way.
Yeah.
So you that day, obviously there was a convergence there, by the way, everyone, you're joined by Tony Boyer. He made it back from Valle, and he's got some great stories.
Hey.
You look a little sunburned too. Did you get some sun over there?
Yeah, right. I can't top anything Steve's got. I just went down there and got the flu, and that was awesome. So I got to sit around and fly the couch for 5 days, and then I come back to California, and I get another cold right when I get back. So it's just been outstanding.
I like your shirt. Happy Pills.
Hey, thanks, man. Need a few more of those right now.
It's got bikes in there. If it just had
bikes in there, yeah.
If it had paragliders in there, I'd wear that shirt.
Yeah.
Dude, this shirt is awesome. MTB all day, buddy.
So, Steve, you've got some years under your belt, and at some point you decided, I'm going to get involved in competitions. Take us through some of that, and tell us what you took away from being involved in competitions.
So just a little bit. So the backstory, I've been flying with some really high level pilots from the get go. A guy named Dave Hankins was my mentor, and so we pretty much flew every day at Blossom. And then in 1994, basically in '93, I went straight from the Eldecaw, and which had a speed seat where, in order to go faster, you lean forward, which was weird. Then I bought a ITV Meteor Gold, which had the same type of speed seat, which is a little better than the Eldecaw, but still not a high level glider. And then I went straight from that beginner glider. My first competition glider was a Nova Sphinx. So I entered my first competition in 1994, and it was in Chelan, Washington. I came in second in the sport class in Chelan. So it was my first competition, came in second in the sport class, and I've been competing. I competed probably 2 or 3 comps a year from '94 up until probably in the 2000 range, and then I stopped competing as much.
So your first competition ever, you got second place
In the sport class, yeah.
In the sport class. Now, what would you contribute your success to? Would you say that it's just having a lot of flying hours consecutively close together? Would it be your tenacity or a lack of fear? Or take us through what you think it is.
That's a good question. I think part of it is because of flying Blossom. I mean, Blossom is a super dynamic site, which tends to be rowdy, and you really have to mind your P's and Q's when you're flying. So it builds good flying skills. And so I didn't have tons of hours, and actually I was slated to be one of the first guys to get hurt way back then. Back in there, like, how'd this guy go from a beginner glider to a advanced glider like right away? So a lot of people think, oh, Prairie's going to get hurt, Prairie's going to get hurt. But I stuck with it, and I think flying Blossom, and then I think it's just having that mentality, you know, when you're on a task, you know, I've got to get to that point. And just flying with really good high-level pilots kind of brings you up to another level. And of course, a little luck always helps out. So it seemed to me back in the day, I don't seem to have it quite so much anymore, but back in the day, I'd be going up and other people would just be going down, and I don't know why, but this was how it was way back then. And I think just pushing through and pushing and not giving up, you know, I can make it, that pure determination.
Tony and I talk about that all the time. There is so much luck involved. There are days and sometimes months where I'm the lowest guy. And then sometimes there's a month or two or a day or two where I'm the highest guy. And I always try to make sure I turn the GoPro on when I'm the highest guy. And take pictures of Tony when he's below me.
Yeah, that's not hard to do. That happens a lot.
He's the one that does it to me. He'll take a picture and then he'll send it to me later and post it on, and he'll be like, see that? That's you down there, Robert.
But I'm telling you, since Tony's been flying the Delta 3, right, Tony? You've been killing it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, you've been killing it. So you've been doing well.
I've been trying to get him to give it to me.
I will. You have to put some weight on, though. You have to be, you know, fat guy like me in order to fly that wing. Toss a 45-pound plate in their harness and take it for a spin.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I was always telling Steve I was going to fly his comp wings every time I see him at Blossom. Like, hey, man, let me fly that. And he'll be like, yeah, you can fly it at Torrey.
Right.
I want to fly that thing at Borey. I want to fly it here, man.
Yeah, good luck with that. Right?
It's funny that we mentioned that, because that's one of my questions. And you may have a biased opinion on this, but what would you say is adequate to move up in a class on wing?
To move up in a class, you know, I think first of all, it's how much time are you going to able to spend on flying? Are you a weekend warrior, or can you spend 2 or 3 days or 4 days a week? My philosophy is if you're flying the high level gliders, you need to be flying 4 days a week to make sure you're able to control the glider in all kinds of given situations. If you're a weekend warrior, hey, fly the intermediate wings, stay safe and have fun. But if you're looking to get into that competition level, you got to move up to those competition wings. You got to fly a lot. You got to fly with the big dogs. And of course, never get overconfident and never become complacent. Complacency is going to bite you in the rear end if you're not very careful. A couple things that I thrive on is always make your launches. And I say that probably better than I can do that. Yeah. Always make your launches great and your landings a feather step. Because as soon as you get complacent, that's when things start happening, and launches and landings for sure are the biggest issues.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I've learned a lot of stuff just in the few days that we've got to fly together. One of the things that came up, I was playing around on launch, and we've had a slew of accidents this season, and kind of disappointing. A couple of one lady in Sand City passed away, and another lady in the north, or I'd say north of here, but Southern California, passed away. And these were accidents that were avoidable. And I say that avoidable in that we're doing this sport for fun. We shouldn't try to push ourselves beyond our abilities, and kind of like you said, guard yourself from mistakes. There's no reason that we should get hurt, maimed, or die. I had this conversation with Art, and what Art said, he said, I heard a guy say, well, at least he died doing what he loves. And Art goes, but you don't have to die. Yeah. And yeah. It's so true. And that's a fact. We're here trying to just enjoy a sport, and that's what it should be.
It is. Yeah. And one cool thing that, I'm pretty happy about being able to say, I probably have around 10,000 air hours, maybe even more. And wow. The most I've ever gotten was a sprained ankle. I was doing toe-up clinic down in Zapata, Texas, in the cross-country encampment. It's blowing 20 plus miles an hour. Get pulled up off the ground on the tow system. My glider gets towed up. It flies all the way back. So I'm leaning back. I'm going. And literally, I'm only about 40 feet off the ground, and I had a premature cord release. And so my glider surged forward. It took a collapse. I spun like probably 180 degrees, able to get it back almost into the wind. And then when I landed, I stepped on a little bush and I sprained my ankle. Oh. So that's pretty much the only thing that's happened to me. And like I said, and I've never thrown my reserve in my whole career.
That was going to be another question.
Yeah. Cross your fingers.
I'll tell you, it's interesting too, your choice in gliders. Like when I was hang gliding, I flew a competition hang glider. And I probably flew as much, if not, actually I flew a lot, but I kind of fly a lot now, but I don't feel that it's the same thing. You fly a comp hang glider, it's not the same thing as flying a competition paraglider. I don't know, I just feel like the competition paraglider is a lot more dangerous than, say, the hang gliding equivalent.
And maybe let me ask this question for both of you, since you've flown both, and obviously, Steve, you have a lot of hours on Spicy Wings. What is it that is the most dangerous thing about moving up in a class?
The most dangerous thing is if you're not ready for it and you don't give it the gentle time of flight to get used to the equipment that's needed, that's when things happen. So for example, if you go from an intermediate to a comp wing straight away, and all of a sudden you go out on a really big day and you've only had an hour or two on that comp wing, you're not going to be as settled with that comp wing and the way it feels, the way it acts, and things that happen. So my recommendation is step into that wing gently, fly at Torrey, fly on gentle glass offs at Marshall, Blossom, Palomar, or any of your local sites, wherever you guys fly those gentle, build up some hours, start feeling out your glider, get a really good feel for it, then start notching it up. to a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger until you can step into those big days, those big air days when people are going really high and really far. It's a process.
How often? Yeah. So most dangerous thing that that you would say about going up in a wing is the responsiveness. If you overreact, or if you over input, cause you go into a spin, or cause you to take a frontal, or end up with a cravat or something crazy. Is that the main thing that is getting guys?
Well, yeah, it's the over control. So people tend to over control everything, and so stuff starts happening, and people kind of lose their heads a little bit, and they start pulling hard. My whole reaction is, especially you're flying big wings, comp wings, if it goes bad, just let the hands go up, and then work it out slowly, and just hands up, see what's happening, feel it out. But nothing ever is big in those comp wings, because you have to know that if you do 10, 12 centimeters of pull, that could stall some comp wings. So you have to know it's you know, some gliders you can pull hard. Comp wings are just small adjustments all the time.
Small inputs. Yeah.
Small inputs.
And so one of my questions was, how often are you getting your reserve packed? I know that's kind of open in the underwear drawer for some guys. How often do you recommend getting your reserve packed? And being that you've never thrown one, what do you think? Some guys say, I've heard people say every 6 months. I'm not necessarily.
So if you talk to any people that do reserve packing and paraglider pilots that are always doing aerobatics and stuff like that, they do it's every 6 months. You know, I think you could probably get away with once a year, but probably every 6 months to be safe. And then if ever your equipment ever gets damp or wet, you really got to take it in and get it dried out and repack pretty quick, because you can get some mold and different stuff built up into those reserves, which can cause them to fail.
Very great information right there.
Yeah, I saw some water landings last week, man. There was 15 in one day water landings.
What?
And that was, and so, I don't remember who mentioned this, but they're like that one part of the LZ on the one side, it's like a sewage.
Yeah,
like
poop river.
Yeah, via sewage, and these guys were landing their gliders right in it. And I'm like, it's going to be some stinky gliders, man. Oh my God.
I think I sent out a text when I saw your response there, Tony. I said, I hope they wash them.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. Oh my God. It was, I couldn't believe it. These guys are just like coming up short, and so there was a ton of gliders just in the LZ alone that were just being aired out. Gliders, reserves, instruments were fried. Oh man, what a mess.
So does that make you wonder? So does that make you wonder if it's their butt or if it's their reserve?
Yeah. The funny thing is, if you overshoot it, you're going to hit the fence. And I saw that video a couple days right when you guys left. That video started showing up, and the guy goes into the bush.
It's just postage stamp down there. You know, you got to come in. Yeah, you got to come in. Land too far, you could hit the little shack or whatever, the fence.
The
hut.
If
you're too short, the hut. If you're too short, you're either in the Poop River or right where Poop River comes into the lake. I flew a competition in the late 90s, could have been early 2000s, right when they started doing comps in Bahia. That was one of the comps that I went to when I was sponsored by Torrey Pines, flying the Independence Raptor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
I think you mentioned that to me when we were flying. So you had the sponsorship from Torrey Pines. Do they still sponsor guys?
Yeah, actually, they're sponsoring Chris Cote right now, I think. And it's not Torrey Pines is fantastic stuff for our community and the people around. And they gave me the gear, they gave me a helmet, they paid for my entry fee to I think 3 competitions. So they just help out, and just help the guys put out information for Torrey, and they'll help you out.
One of the guys that watches the show, and actually he's the guy who designed the logo for our show, Carl. He's in Colorado. He asked a question. He's wanting to get into the Chilean Washington competition, and so he wanted me to ask about your experience there and what that was like.
In Chelan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chelan. Chelan is actually one of my favorite places to fly. I think I've done, I don't know, probably 6 competitions there at least. Super fun flatland flying. They're actually now sending routes north, which is more mountain flying. But typically what happens at Chelan, you launch off Chelan Butte, you boot up to anywhere between 9 and 13 grand, cross the Columbia River, and then you're flying flatland flying and big, giant dust devils. It is fantastic flying. It's so fun.
Nice.
It's so great. The thermals are literally as big as city blocks. They're huge.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's not like Blossom the last couple times that we've been out there.
No. Not like typical Blossom, because typical Blossom is the bullet thermals, about the side as big around as your truck,
Yeah, that's it. And it knock you, make your shoes fall off.
Exactly.
Hang your inside wingtip in it and hope you keep your wing open.
Right.
Isn't it funny though how you get over to El Cap and it's a whole different sight?
Well, that was something that we were talking about, and I know this is like a local show, so I'm loving every second of this show. Steve had a really nice day where there was some nice clouds developing. It was post frontal, and it was that day that it had rained, and it was just a really nice day. And so he was able to surf the edge of the clouds all across the face of El Cap. It was an amazing day. And I didn't go across. I had Tabin. I probably could have went over there, but I was hesitant. And the reason why I was hesitant is because it was a little bit of north on the direction. And but I think that day it was what Steve said. He said, if you can get up and get across there, he goes, it's smoother over there than it is at Blossom. And I have experienced that every single time that I've gone over there. But it's so big and it's so intimidating. And all the unknowns for me, I always hesitate to go over there. But I thought that was such an interesting thing. What do you think? What's the difference? And let me rephrase my question. We were talking about this. Post frontal usually means right after it rained. If the ground is wet, does that affect the thermals? And that was a conversation piece. And actually, I posted that video. Was that this morning or yesterday? And there's this huge string of conversation going about that. What do you think about that?
The moist ground definitely affects the thermals. What keeps us up on those days is that instability and, of course, the base wind. And then if you can get to El Cap and get high enough, you can get into that instability and get you up to cloud base. My typical thought on flying Blossom when the ground is wet, it's always, you got to let it dry out for a couple days or usually it's not working. And the typical rule of thumb.
That's been my experience over at Blossom. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, if the ground is wet, it's not going to heat up enough to create the thermals needed to get you up in the air, which is, that's my thought anyway. I mean, definitely open to other opinions on that. But, I had a really interesting day there. Last time there was an actual cloud at Blossom, I went across and I forgot the cloud was there because I was focused on the thermal, and then I flew into the cloud and I literally thought I was having a medical event, like a stroke or something, because I forgot the cloud was there, and I was like, oh my God, I can't see. And I freaked out, I mean, the freak out was literally a fragment of a second until I realized what I had done. And I was just like, my God. I was like, I literally laughed myself all the way back to launch. Yeah, it was freaky, man. I thought for sure, I was like, man, am I stroking out here? What is going on? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's that cloud I flew into and it has snuck up on me.
That's a good one, Tony. I like that.
Yeah, that was really weird.
You almost induced a heart attack for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. I was trembling after that. I was like, man, I was laughing.
I remember that.
You remember that day? I think you were there. I think both you guys might have been there.
Yeah. I really like what you said, Steve, about launches and landings. I do want to, we're at the halfway mark. I want to just real quick put a plug in for ppgsmoke.com. That's the company that Ryan Roberts put together for the smoke machines. And he's also working on a bunch of really cool projects. I think he's got he's working on an electric paramotor, and he's working with a team of people to make that something that's available and mass produced and respectful on the price. And so go check out ppgsmoke.com if you're interested in getting the smoke machine. If you want to win the smoke machine, you need to go to paraglidingtalk.com and then go to the contest and then enter in the contest. Make sure you read the rules ahead of time. We're going to give one of those away towards the end of the show. Also want to encourage you to support the show. I have a Patreon and a PayPal account that I've set up for the show. A lot of times during the summer, the guys are flying at Blossom while I'm doing the show, and it's really hard for me to sit here and be patient, but it helps when I have people supporting the show financially. So you can support the show financially, and the main focus of the show is obviously to teach people and learn some things that can save your life or maybe save someone else's life. And because it is aviation, it's dangerous. So for the price of a cup of coffee a month, you can support a show that will help the flying community. So do that. If you're interested in that, you can go to the website and click the Patreon or PayPal if you're into that stuff, and support the show financially. Also, Paraorange Products has been doing all kinds of giveaways on the show. Paraorangeproducts.com if you're interested in getting some gear. They are one of our 2 sponsors for the show. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, there is a link in the website. Click on that link and it'll give you the details of what you need to do and what it's going to take to get involved in sponsorship for the show. Also, there's one other thing. It's becoming like a regular, it's like a commercial show. I have to be careful. I'm going to cut these things short. I think everybody gets up and goes to the bathroom. Let's do a giveaway. Sean, how about that?
Yeah, sounds good.
I wish Larry was here because I like how he says Sean.
Larry,
he's like, hey, Sean. So, by the way,
like driving a Honda.
If you're my Honda, I was driving my Honda. We can make fun of him. He's probably watching. Your name has been put in a hat if you've said anything in the chat at all. Hey, I see George Costanza. George is a previous winner. So your name gets put in the hat as long as you're in the chat, as long as you said something. Sean's been writing down everyone's name.
And this was the cutoff point. So anybody that's after this moment right now, no more names.
No more names.
No more names.
What you're gonna win tonight is a Paragliding Talk Toe Pro. And what you do with this is laces into your shoe, and then you put your GoPro on this thing. It mounts to the GoPro clip, and then it stares at you while you're flying. You just put it on your foot. Pretty neat little deal. These were made by Johnny Wisconsin. He didn't charge me for these. He just sent these over. Thanks, Johnny Wisconsin. You're the man.
I gotta say, Super Dave Dangers Paraglide Adventures Free Flying. That is a long freaking name, dude.
Yeah.
There's no way that I'd be able to write all that down.
He said something. It's too late.
Yeah. All right. There we go. All right, you tell me when.
Tony, tell him when.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at something totally different. What? Right now.
Okay.
When?
We got Robert Durbin.
What? Are
Robert
you serious?
Durbin?
Yeah.
Robert Durbin? This thing's definitely rigged. Robert Durbin, he won the paramotor
There we go.
smoke machine.
Robert Durbin. That's the name it pulled.
Does Robert Durbin have a shirt too? I felt like we already gave him stuff.
He's saying, hey, in the chat. He's live in the chat, so he's all about it, dude.
That is hilarious.
You spelled Tony Boyer wrong.
Dude, he won again.
Lucky. He's probably pooping 4-leaf clovers or something over there. I don't know.
I already know his address. I've already got it memorized.
Have that guy buy us a bunch of lottery tickets, would you?
I'm telling
no joke.
you. Yeah.
Congratulations, Robert
through,
Durbin. You are the winner of a Toe Pro. I'll be sending that out shortly. That's what I do during the week now. I go to the post office and send off all kinds of stuff, shirts and Toe Pros, stickers.
Well, since we feel bad about, Robert Durbin winning so often, should I attempt to pull another name?
Yeah, do another one.
I see Woody's in there now. Oh yeah, that's funny.
Woody's supposed to be doing his own show.
Yeah, he's trying to get on a giveaway, because he still owes the $10 for his curse words.
Oh dang! he just logged out.
Yeah. Go fig. He's like, oh, they're calling me out, and I'm live. All right, you tell me when, Robert.
All right, do it. I gotta go make sure I have another Tow Pro.
He said we did my show last night.
Just bring it over, Robert.
Dirtbird 43.
Dirtbird 43. Okay, hold on. I got to write this down.
Yeah,
Congratulations, Dirtbird. Dirtbird, if you are still in the chat, I need your information. So go to paraglidingtalk.com and put your information. I know I can't help but to read the chat.
Oh.
You only have to pay for the words. It's not a monthly. It's $10 per cuss word.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I like Dirtbird. Dirtbird, he sounds like my kind of guy.
No, I like that name.
Dirtbird. I like that guy.
It's much better than Dirtbag.
Yeah.
Dirtbag be all right too.
Dirtbird 43, congratulations. I have you on Facebook. Okay. I need you to send me your address. So message me. And that's a great way to do it. Yeah, Messenger or Facebook or whatever. By the way, we created a Facebook page, which is run by Neil, who's another moderator for the show. There's also another guy that is working. Ryan Roberts put together all of the episodes, 55 episodes. This is what, 56 or 57. He put them on the SoundCloud, and then that way we can put it on all the other websites. So the podcast, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. So they're going to go on there so you can listen to them while you're driving and or whatever. But just want to give that shout out to those guys that are working on that, and really appreciate it. There was another guy who reached out to me in email and said that he was going to do that for us. And so I really appreciate that. So the show is growing. Make sure you follow the show on Instagram. I created an Instagram. I never thought in a million years I'd create an Instagram, but there's an Instagram for the show. So make sure you go. And I may be doing some giveaways for people who go into and are following the show on Instagram. So keep that in your pocket. If you have an Instagram, it's worth going and logging on. You might win something. Okay, let's go back to talking. And I don't know, does Woody want to join? Should I send him an invite? Let's bring him on. I'm going to send him an invite. We'll just see if he comes.
For the record,
he might be wanting to do free flights.
I don't want it to be all butthurt, but we love you, Woody. You're still an all right dude. You put out good videos. We still love you, man.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say some, but something. Woody said he's laying around sloppy and sick. Oh,
That's the best time to be on the air, Woody.
Tony's sloppy and sick.
Yeah,
too.
dude, I'm got one foot in the grave over here.
I got a face for radio, so yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's awesome.
We're gonna take a few minutes to open up for questions for Steve. He's got such a deep history in the sport, and especially for the locals. If you're here from Southern California, make sure that you ratchet up your questions now. And he does have to go a little bit early compared to our normal show. We'll go 1 full hour, but he's got to cut it just a little bit short. So we'll cut into those questions very soon. What do you think about doing SIVs?
I think doing SIVs is great. SIVs, first of all, they're a lot of fun. One thing that's important about doing SIVs is you have a wing that you can deal with and that does the stuff that you want it to. Also, if you're flying a comp wing, the SIV is a different thing. It's just to learn how to do stalls, and it's not to do a bunch of tricks. Comp gliders, the two-liners, they are not built for tricks. Fact is, they don't even like to do SIVs. It's not even recommended to do SIVs with most comp gliders. But they're fun. It can teach you stuff. It's very important to get with an instructor, an SIV instructor, that you're comfortable with, that you respect, and that has a good reputation. Really important for that. But they're a lot of fun.
Great answer. How many have you done?
One.
Nice. Here's another question from Woody Gamertag. He said, flying over flatland, what do you look for a trigger? And this question is for me as well. He said, I know that wetlands are typical trouble, but it seems like lakes trigger thermals. What ground features do you look for?
So when you're flying over flatlands, typically, especially when you're at Chelan, what happens is there's a lot of segmented areas for farming. So you'll have some dry fields, some with some little bit of growth, some wetter fields. So anywhere where you have a difference in the terrain. So for example, if it goes from dry to moist, right there at that corner or that edge, you can get a lot of triggering. Cool thing about Chelan is the dust in Chelan on the ground is super, super light. So dust devils form everywhere. So as long as you're not too low, head over to a dust devil and get up in it. But primarily you're looking for any change in the terrain visually.
Interesting. And obviously, because I'm flying Blossom most of the time, what are you looking for there? Birds? And that's pretty much it?
Well, for me, it's not about birds. It's, I've been flying there so long. I know there's thermals here, there, and all over.
Yeah.
But typically for Blossom, some of the days are different. Some of the days the thermals are up tighter against the ridge. Sometimes on the lighter days, you're going to find the thermals are a little bit further out front. But of course, when you have stronger wind, it's pushing everything up against the ridge. And when it's a lighter day, the thermals are not being pushed against the ridge. So you might have to go a little bit further out and hit a bigger one or a nice one that's going to take you up.
I've experienced that. Sometimes you got to go deeper than you're comfortable with, and normally I will watch, like I'll watch you and see where you're at, and I'll just go, oh, there's a thermal there. The nice thing about Blossom is there's almost always somebody else there. When everybody was at Valle, I was like, I'm going by myself, and I headed up the hill, and that's when you were sitting up there in the chair, and I'm like, yes, there's someone here. And I thought I was going to be flying alone, and that turned out to be a decent little flight that day. But okay, I have a couple other questions, and just a few minutes left. So we already said your favorite place to fly. What wing are you flying now, and why did you choose that wing?
Right now I'm flying the Da Vinci X Cord. It's a two-liner glider. It's very similar in respect to the Ozone Zeno. I was flying the Enzo 2, but I'm getting a little bit older. My shoulders are a little bit sore these days. The Enzo 2 takes a lot of work. I've been looking for a glider. I did fly the Zeno. I had a Zeno prior to my Enzo 2. For some reason, I just didn't like it. I know lots of people love it, and I love Ozone products, but I just didn't like the way the Zeno flew. So I flew the Enzo 2 for a while. It's a lot to fly. It's a lot of work all the time. So I wanted to step down just a little bit. So I saw the Da Vinci X Cord, started researching it, found one on the market that I was comfortable paying for, bought it. It was shipped to me, and I really like it. It's a fun glider fly, super great on speed bar. I mean, you can go full bar and let go of the hands, and you're totally like, yeah, this is cool, whatever. But as far as ease to fly for a two-liner, literally, to me, it's just like a piece of cake to fly.
It is a two-liner.
Yeah.
Not so easy to
that.
kite, though. That thing, I swear, man, the smallest little gust of wind comes up, and that thing just starts acting up.
Yeah. And you have to know, Tony, I mean, I think you've been flying around me long enough. Any comp glider that's got a 7 or more aspect ratio, we're just looking that they're just snaky and wiggly.
Oh yeah, super snaky and wiggly. That thing just seems lighter, though. I don't know. The material seems really light compared to what your Enzo was.
Yeah, I think it's the same material primarily, but it's a new glider, and the new gliders always tend to,
yeah, for sure.
Away.
I mean, don't get me wrong; it's hilarious. I'll never ever turn down that show ever. That's what you need to do, Robert. Take the show live to Blossom for one of Steve's launches.
Somebody said that in the beginning of the show. Somebody had said that in the chat. We should do a live one. I think it was Bob.
It'd be cool.
Man.
Predator Paramotor asked this question. He was asking about what wing to do an SIV on, and you mentioned not to do it on a 2-liner. What do you recommend? Somewhere in the middle or a beginner? Would that be safe?
Well, I think you really need to do it on what you're flying with. So you've got to first of all decide why you're doing the SIV. So if you're doing it to try to get a feel for how stalls and giant collapses happen on your wing, you got to take your wing out. But if you're flying a comp wing, just don't do it. So if you're doing usually a B glider or a C glider, perfectly fine to do the SIVs on. And the cool thing about the Bs and the Cs is typically they sat pretty well. You know, you can go negative pretty well, recover quite easily, and they're not going to trash your gliders because typically on the lower end gliders, the lines are just a little bit beefier, and you don't have to worry about messing up the line set, stretching them out, breaking them, or whatever.
Right.
I mean,
on
the 2-liners, I mean, a lot of the lines are just like dental floss, and you start putting lots of torque and pressure on them. You know, you could just get snap, and then it's not a good day.
Have you ever had you ever broke a line or had a line snap while you're in the air?
Not while I'm in the air,
Who was it recently? I think it was Ryan Bloom had one that it was tied, and he was up pretty high and it snapped. Didn't change obviously very much in his flying, but flying with a knot that you tied, it's probably not the best way to go about it if you can get your line changed. But I literally right now I'm flying with a line that snapped. I pulled it on a rock and snapped it and tied it back in a knot so I could keep flying.
Yeah, and you got to do what you got to do, and I've done that many times, and I think I've flown many gliders for probably maybe a year even, or at least a good half year with a knot in it and
tied. Yeah, on your trailing edge, you would never, not on a leading edge.
It's always, I mean, you can never tie a knot in one of your lines that's gonna do tons of support. So it's okay if you got a small upper cascade brake line or an upper cascade D line, but anything else you're like,
no, take care of it. And especially with the unsheathed lines, they're so susceptible at Blossom, those nails that used to hold down the carpet. And what are you flying with as far as your electronics? Vario, this is from Woody Gamer.
Well, I'm pretty much still old school. I'm flying, a mass, what is it?
Flymaster?
Flymaster, yeah. I'm flying with the Flymaster, and of course I fly with my InReach, and of course my radio, and I do also have an old Garmin that I fly with GPS, just so I have a couple things to look at. In case one fails, I got something else to go with.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, and some of the new guys and all you young guys are flying with all this techie stuff. And what I need to do is get with you guys so you can teach me some of this new techie stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you, back when I first started doing the comps, we didn't fly with any of this. All we flew with was Varios that would beep. And in order to do competitions, you'd have to fly around a turn point and take pictures of it. And then you have to, at the end of the day, you submit your roll of film.
Whoa, like a roll of film. Wow.
You submit your roll of film, and if you were in the FAI sector, you got credit for that turn point.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was all camera work. So you're imagine this, you're flying Aspen, Colorado, just getting pounded, right? You're low trying to make this turn point, and you got to whip out this camera and start taking pictures.
It'd be better if it was a Polaroid.
Film. That is amazing.
Yeah. They issue you those, those little yellow cameras in a box. They'd issue those. Okay, here's your camera.
Oh yeah,
the throwaways.
Yeah,
I remember those.
You gotta sit there and wind them up.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, had to wind those
I'm
things
not
up,
kidding.
man.
Yeah.
My son the other day asked me about, he goes, Dad, did you have a VCR? I was like, yeah, we did, buddy.
Like, oh, you better
Still
believe
not.
it.
Blockbuster.
That's funny.
People don't
Yeah.
even know about Blockbuster.
That's uncivilized. You have to leave the house to rent movies. Like,
But
God.
I'm gonna have to take off pretty cool, but
Yes.
I want to leave you folks with one thing to remember.
Yeah.
Never fly behind a hill low unless you're going up pretty fast. No, don't go too far back unless you're going up fast enough to where you need to make it out front. I see a lot of student or people, paraglider pilots, that make mistakes because they fly behind, they go back and they're low. And you're like, what are you doing back there, right? You get a gust of wind or something, you're going down, you're going low. Another thing, my favorite places to fly of all time, Chelan, Washington, Owens Valley, Golden, Canada, and of course, Valle de Bravo. So if I was to talk about my big air flying, it's those 4 sites. Golden, by far, if you ever get a chance to go to Golden, phenomenal flying, and they cater to paraglider pilots.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sounds like my kind of place.
Yeah, midsummer, go midsummer, yeah, anywhere from like June 20th to the end of July or even early August. But yeah, phenomenal flying. Big mountain flying.
Nice. That's on the radar.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, I really appreciate you coming on. Would you come on the show again? I feel like you've got a lot to offer, and the show is short. Would you be interested in coming on again at some point, maybe in a few months or so?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah.
Okay, great. I would love to hear some of your stories. I know that you've got some really good ones. Maybe we'll talk about XC and strategy on big XCs, and maybe we'll do a whole episode on like competitions and invite all the comp guys.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have fun.
Yeah, Steve, thanks, man. And we should be able to fly. Yeah. I think it'll be good on Saturday, so I'll shoot you a text.
Yeah, let's do it.
Saturday on Saturday.
Yeah. What? And Tony, hey, take a bunch of vitamin C.
Yeah. Seriously, Steve Reno. I'll see you out there likely Sunday.
Hey, I'm telling you, I was jealous of all you guys flying via. I was watching all your tracks going.
I know.
Yeah.
Steve,
bye, guys.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks, guys.
Okay, we got a big giveaway to do here. This is for
you can just drive it over. You don't even have to mail it to me. Just drive it over to my house.
You don't even have a paramotor.
So maybe this will be my reason to get one.
Okay. If you get a smoke machine, if you win the smoke machine, what are you going to do with it? You're going to buy a paramotor because you won the smoke machine?
So that's what you're giving away, is a smoke machine.
Yes.
Either that or I'll figure out some other way to rig it up for use on the city streets.
Put it on your dirt bike.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. The winner was actually selected before the show, so I already knew that you didn't win, Tony.
That's ridiculous.
The Excel system chooses who wins. Basically, it's really nice. Actually, all the entries go into an Excel spreadsheet. I click the button. It basically spins an electronic wheel, and the winner tonight is John Ripa. And I think this is, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is Ripman Riding. And I haven't seen him. I don't know if he's in the chat or not, but Ripman, congratulations. You won a smoke machine. I hope he doesn't already have one. But John Ripa, congratulations. I already have your information. I will be sending you an email with details and the promo code so that you can get your winnings.
I believe, yeah. Ripman
Congratulations.
Riding. He's inside the chat right now. He's saying, no way.
There he is. Yep. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I can practically hear him screaming like a girl through the chat, like, ah!
It's funny because his entry is John, and then his name is Ripman, but there's no connection, because maybe I should add that in the contest so that you could put your screen name so we can know who it
Yeah,
is.
Who you are,
we expect smoke vids, Rip. I agree, Mike.
Smoke vids
Yeah,
are
smoke
mandatory
vids.
after this. By the way,
Yes.
if you win anything from the show, it would be really nice of you. You don't have to, but it'd be really nice if you post it on your social media and maybe ping paragliding talk in the hashtag or something like that. I'm still trying to figure out all this electronic stuff. So I really appreciate everybody who's been kind of walking me through some of this stuff, especially Ryan Roberts, helping me to not lose my mind. The other day, he spent 8 hours loading all the episodes, all 55 episodes onto the SoundCloud. Took the whole day. Then I have to send an application to iTunes for the podcast section. iTunes let it go and they said, congratulations. And they let it ride for 2 days and then they turned it off. And now I'm having these conversations with iTunes about why, and the reason why. They just emailed me just before the show. And they said the reason is because I didn't have all the descriptions filled out fully. So I've got to go back, unload them all, then reload them all, and then put the descriptions in, and then we'll be good to go. And then moving forward, you'll be able to see those podcasts. So the link is still in the description for both the podcast and for the Instagram. But connect yourself somehow to the show with that. And especially you're going to find that some of the guys that I choose, some days I choose from the list of Patreon supporters. Sometimes I choose from the list of PayPal supporters. And then sometimes it's out of the chat. And then obviously through the electronic spin the wheel deal with Excel. And so that's what that's all about. Really appreciate everyone coming on. Tony, thanks for joining us tonight. Sean, thanks for moderating. Calvin, wherever you're at, I know you're somewhere in there. Thanks for moderating and supporting the show. And next week is going to be a really cool show. It's one I actually wanted to do a long time ago. And I reached out to this guy, and he was in the middle of all kinds of stuff. The dust is settled for him, and he is going to join us. And so many of you know him as Yankee and SC1. His name is Todd, actually, and Todd's going to be joining us. And so look for that show, paraglidingtalk.com. You can find the episode soon. I'll put that on there very soon. And then we're supposed to do another Matt Minyard show. And so Matt Minyard reached out to me. He's got some stuff. He's going to be out of town during the week that we're going to have, where we have the show scheduled. So he's going to try and see if it works. If it doesn't work, we're just going to, we'll do maybe an open air and open question and comment show for that. But really appreciate everybody. There was some question. Did I miss any of the questions? I know Steve's not here, but was there any questions that maybe Tony can answer or myself that I missed? Is there anything that I've got
answers for everything.
I've
Whether
got
they're correct or not is a whole different story, but I do have them.
I've got a couple more minutes, so I'm not gonna shut down the show ahead of 1 hour. So you got 2 minutes. Resurgence PPG in the house. What's up, man? I should have sent you an invite. I think the paramotor guys get a little bit nervous when we have free flight guys on. And
no, it's the other way around.
Is it opposite?
Yeah.
The free flight guys get nervous when paramotor guys are on?
Sure. I believe that to be the case.
That's why we need to get paramotors, Tony.
It's only because when they put the paramotors on the back, they're all cheese. Like,
yeah.
I told you it's cheap.
I think I could tear one of those up. You'd probably train me up for a day or two. I bet I could,
I don't even think it would take a day. It's all about launch and landing, and you've already got that pretty much down. It's a little weird with the with the
trigger
gas.
With all my
hand.
motocross background, I'm kind of a gearhead. I think I could take to it, man.
Oh, you would for sure.
Yeah.
Let's get Russman to find a motor for us to go and try. Are you down for that or what? I can't hear you, Tony. I lost you. If anybody has a good set of headphones for Tony.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we're gonna get Roosman to take us out and tear up some PPG on Saturday.
He doesn't have a motor right now, but we need to convince him to get a motor just for us to be able to fly.
Exactly. Just a permanent loner.
Yeah.
Well, if you both put your money together, you could kind of swap, throughout the week.
Yeah, we don't have any money.
Point.
We live in San Diego.
Yeah, we're all busted.
You got warm weather.
Yeah, that's true. Too many hobbies too. Just too many hobbies.
Man. Good free flight weather all the time, though. Pretty much.
That's true. That is a good point.
Here's the real question from me: are we going XC this weekend?
I'm thinking. Well, Saturday looks like east winds, so I think that's going to be a good mountain bike day. Hero dirt.
What?
And that's what I've been saying. Yeah, dude. Seriously.
Who said that?
Sunday looks like it could work, but I'm not sure how good. So I don't know if it'll be XC worthy.
Right. You just peed in the sugar bowl. I thought we were flyable on Saturday.
But I'm hoping. Well, you know what? Let me look at XC skies again.
It's post frontal.
Yeah, but this time of year it goes from post frontal to Santa Ana's like right now.
That is true. I can't wrap my mind around that.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Ridiculous.
I'm gonna look right now.
I'm looking too.
I'm sure everybody cares. We're gonna go flying on Saturday.
It's important.
It's gonna be snowing out here.
All right. So most of the time we go to the after show right here.
It's like a pie in the face. 60 degrees. We're gonna go fly with no motor. It's all ice out here, snowing, 20-something degrees. Colder than the dark side of a tin poop house in the middle of a blizzard, and here you are like, yeah, we're going flying.
Colder than a tin poop house.
Oh man. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, dude, it's looking really weird now.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's what you get.
All right, I'm not looking at it.
Right? That's what you get, man.
It wouldn't let me log in anyways.
Top of lift is looking lame. Top lift, yeah, it's going offshore, dude. Let me look at the surface. Surface is onshore, heavy northwest, very, very light winds.
Couldn't we do an Elsinore trip?
Potentially. Let's take a look.
All right.
Elsinore. Smelsinore.
Wait, Predator Paramotor, you're going to be out here in San Diego town?
Yeah, I think he said he was going from somewhere to San Diego. I can't recall.
Salt and Sea flying.
Yeah.
That's in February, isn't it? Yeah. We need paramotors for that.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to that one year.
We need paramotors to go to that.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. This Saturday thing looks like mountain biking weather. We need to get you on 2 wheels, buddy. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah.
San Francisco to San Diego next week.
Nice.
Yeah, saw that.
All right, hit me up, Predator. We'll get you a site brief at one of the sites around here so you can do some free flight.
Free flight.
Yep. Okay, guys, I really appreciate everybody in the chat. Everybody watches the show. Thanks for all the Patreon supporters, all the supporters of the show on the PayPal. Thank you. You make it worth it. And we'll have a great show next week. Don't miss it. Todd is going to be with us. We're going to be talking about all things flying. He's got a background in aviation. He's flying airplanes. He's got a pilot's license. He's also flying a paramotor. And I think he even has a handful of free flying videos on the wide web. And so we're going to have a great show. Don't miss it next week, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Go to paraglidingtalk.com. Thanks, guys.